Hi, welcome back to the Chico Math Practice Lab, Learning Through Practicing. And we'll continue in the topic Implicit Differentiation. This is our first practice set. In this practice set, we are going to find the first derivative and the second derivative. So this is the second video about the practice set number 1. On the video number 1 here, we already did we practiced several problems how to find the first derivatives, right? So in order to refresh your memory, let's take a look at what the problem we did. So this is what we did on the video number 1 here. We did 7 problems and how to find the y primes here. So now this is the second video. So here we're going to practice how do I find the second derivative by using the implicit differentiation. Okay, so one key thing before we start to do the problems here, one key thing is, remember the implicit differentiation, that means y, we know the y is a function of x. We just cannot write it out. So what are the key rule in the derivative we need to use? Is the what? It's the chain rule, right? So we need to use the chain rule, and so remember the chain rule, so every time you take the derivative with y, don't forget to use the chain rules here. Okay, so let me get out here, and now let's take a look at the first practice problem here. Okay, so this is our first practice problem, and so let me take a look here, right? So this is x squared plus 4y squared equal to 4. Okay, so this will be a good kind of review what you learned in the first video. So let's take a derivative. So remember, we take a derivative, both x and y, but every time, because y is a function of x, so you need to use the chain rule, get a y primes here. Okay, so now the 2x squared, what is the derivative? It's 2x, correct? Okay, then the 4y squared, what is the derivative here? So this is ay, right? So remember, because y is a function, so what you need to do here, you need to do a y primes here, right? And then the 4 is what? 4 is 0. So then you can simplify the y prime. So the y prime will just be equal to ay to the negative 2x, correct? Okay, so then I can simplify it to a negative x for the 4y's here. Okay, so now if we can move this negative 1 over the 4, so this is xy. Okay, so I just want to simplify, when I take the derivative, right? So now I can take the second derivative here. Okay, so I'm going to find the y double prime here. Okay, so the y double prime, because negative 1/4 is the constant, so let's put in the outside. Then I'm going to take the derivative about this one, right? X over y. So what is x over y? What rule I'm going to use? The quotient rule. So what I need to do, I square the bottom. Then for the top, I need to take the derivative of top first. X, when you take the top, is what? It's 1. Right? So it's 1 times y, then minus x, then you times the y you take a derivative is 1, but be careful, y is a function of x, so every time you do that, what you need to put here, y primes here. So far so good? Okay, so now in here you will have a negative 1/4, and then this is the y squared, then this is y minus x times the y prime. And now in here, you just replace back what is your y prime here. Okay, so the remaining really is just your algebra skill. Some of the teacher will want you to simplify, and some of the teacher might not, will just say, hey, as soon as you know how to plug that in, that's good. Okay, so this is the y minus x. Okay, so the y prime is what? It's negative 4x. No, not x to 4x. It's negative x. Okay, so it's a negative x over 4y here, correct? Okay, so now here really, like I said, afterward is just your algebra skills here, right? So here, then it will be y squared. Then this is y minus is minus is what is plus, right? So it's 4y x squared. Okay, then this is negative 1 over the 4 and y squared and the 4y, you use a common denominator. So what is this one going to become to? 4y squared plus x squared, right? Okay. Whoa, now did you see here? You say, oh, this is 4y squared plus x squared. Oh, that's my original problem, 4y squared plus x squared. So what is that? So this is negative 1 to the 4th. So this is y squared. So this is 4y. And so what is here? This is 4, right? Okay, good job. So this is a cancel letter out. So then move this y down. So what is you have here is negative 1/4 to the y to the cube. Okay, that's it. Like I said, as long as you remember y is a function of x, and you always need to use the chain rules here, right? And then the remaining is just to test your algebra skill and to see how much combination, combined your teacher will want you. Okay, so your algebra skill play extremely important role here. Okay, so one other thing here I want to do is like, I just want to show you, either way, you can use what we did in here, or you can just say here, I want to do is like from the original, the derivatives here. Okay, so what I mean from our initial derivative. So let's take a look at this ones here. Let me tell you what I mean. You can start, okay, so this is the first your derivatives, right? You took here. So what you can do, you say, okay, so here, you can do either way, it doesn't matter, right? So it depends on which way you feel more comfortable. So this is 2x plus ay and the y prime is equal to 0, right? So what you can do, you say, okay, let's take the derivative again. So the 2x, what is the derivative? Will be 2, right? Okay, so now in here, you have two functions. One is y, and the other one is y primes here, right? So what you can do, you say, okay, I'm going to use the product rules, right? Okay, so in here, so you said a, all right? So you hold the second one, take the first derivative, the derivative of the y, so the yellow one. So when you take the derivative of y, is what is 1, right? But don't forget, so what you have here is y prime. Then you hold the second one still is y prime. Then plus you hold the first one still is y, right? And then you take the derivative of the second one. So the y prime, you take derivative is what? Y double prime is equal to 0. Okay, so let me color code it for you. So this one is come from the purple ones here, right? And this one is come from the yellow ones here. You can do either ways here, right? Then you can combine. So now you will see here, so what is the y double prime will be? So the y double prime will be what? Will be ay, then it's negative here. This is 2 plus a, and what is here? So this is y prime squared. All right, then you can plug in what is the y prime. You will get the same solution here. Okay, so let's just like the different way to do it. Okay, now let's take a look at the next ones here, right? So for the next ones here, and I'm going to find the second derivative of x squared plus, okay, so this is x squared plus xy plus y squared equal to 3, right? So the first things here, still, let's take a look at the derivative. Okay, so remember, if you remember y is a function of x, use the chain rule, then you probably will be very successful to get the derivative. Okay, so x squared, what is the derivative? It's 2x, right? Okay, so now these ones here, be careful, you have x and you have what? You have y. So what rule we need to use? Because y is a function of x. So what rule we need to use? A product rule, right? So you need to hold the second one, take the derivative of first one. So x, when you take the derivative of first one, so it's y. Then plus you hold the first one is x. Then y, the yellow one, what is the derivative here? Is y prime here, right? Okay, now here the y square, what is the derivative? Is 2y. Don't forget, every time you take the derivative of y, what you need to have? Y prime. So far, so good? Okay, so now this one is equal to 0. So now you can combine, so this is 2x plus y plus you factor the y prime out. So this is x plus 2y equal to 0, right? So then you can get the first derivative is equal to what here? This is x plus 2y, right? And then here, this is negative 2x plus y. Okay, then you can use the, so you, just like before, you can use the quotient rule to do this. And then every time when you see, you know, the y, you need to y prime. And I want to practice another way, the one we just did, you know, I'm going to continue, take the derivative of this one. Now, let's take a look. It's just a different way. Whatever you feel is like more, you know, you feel more comfortable here, right? So, okay, now let's take a look at these ones here. To me, I like this way. It's a little bit easier. Okay, 2x, what is here is 2, correct? Okay, y, what is the derivative? Y prime. Okay, so now here, be careful. This is x and y prime, right? Y is a function. So this is what rules here? Product rule, right? So I need to take the derivative of x is what? Is 1, so it's y prime. Then hold it. So the x, then you take the derivative of y prime is what? Y double prime here. Let me circle it. So probably that way you will be easier. So this is related to the here, right? That's how do I break it. Okay, so now in here, the next one here is 2y times y prime. Okay, so this is the same thing. Is what? Is the product rule. So I need to take the first derivative of y will be y prime. Hold the second derivative y prime here. Okay, then plus you hold the first term y. So y prime, what is in here is y double prime here, right? So it's 0. So let me circle that so you know. So I'm color coding that. So these two terms is get from here. So as long as you remember y is a function of x, so you need to use the product rule, chain rule. Okay, so now in here, let's try to combine this is a little bit. So this is 2, right? So this is 2, and how many here? You have y, so you have 2y primes here, right? Then plus y double prime, right? So y double prime, you can combine with y double prime. So this is x plus 2y, the y double prime. Then plus 2, this is y prime to the square, right? So that's it. All right. So now I can see here, so so now, so I can do this. So I know the y double prime will be, this is x plus 2y, and this is a minus, because everything moved there. So at minus 2, I factor the minus 2 out. So this will be 1 plus y prime plus y prime, the square. And now you can plug in what is the y prime, right? So here the y double prime will be equal to, this is x plus 2y, then this is negative 2, then this is y plus. What is y prime? Y prime is here, right? So this is what we get here. So this is the y prime here. So this one's here, y prime will be negative 2x plus y, and x plus 2y, correct? Then plus y, what? Y prime square. So that means negative 2x plus y, x plus 2y, the whole thing squared. Like I say, then the remaining is just algebra. So you need to combine it to find a common denominator, and I did it, right? So if you want, you can try to practice your algebra skills here. So finally, I got a pretty beautiful answer. It's negative 18, and this is x plus 2y to the cube here. Like I said, from here to here is all the algebra steps, right? So if you want, try to do it to see you can get the same number as I have or not. All right. So that's why, like to be successful in calculus, algebra is one of the very important skill, right? Okay, so now let's take a look at this one. See here, sine y plus cosine x. All right, so let's try to practice one more time. Remember, they are all about the same, right? So it's just like practicing. That's what makes you getting better. Okay, now let's kind of see sine. What is the derivative for sine? Is what? Is cosine what? It's cosine y. Don't forget, y is a function of x. So what I need to have here? Y prime, okay? Okay, so then minus cosine. Cosine, the derivative is what? It's a negative sign. So it's minus sine x. 1 is what? It's zeros here. All right, so the first derivative is quite simple. So what is that here is a sine x and a cosine y. All right, so now here, this one is not too bad. So I can directly take the second derivative here, use the quotient rule. Let's see here. So the quotient rule is cosine y. What I do here, square, right? Then the top, you take the derivative of top first. So sine x, what is it come to here? It's a cosine x, right? Then times your bottom is a cosine y. Then minus the whole to the top is sine x. Okay, and then times what? The derivative of the bottom. So what is that? The cosine y is negative sine y. Don't forget, every time you're dealing with y, what you need to have here? Y prime here, right? Okay, so now in here we have this is a cosine y to the square. This is a cosine x, cosine y. Minus minus is what is plus sine x, sine y. Then what you need to do here, plug in y prime. So what is the y prime here? This is my y prime here, right? Okay, so plug in the y prime here. So this is sine x, cosine y. Okay, now become algebra task again. So this is a cosine y to the square, common denominator cosine y. Okay, so the first term, because it's a common denominator, is a cosine y, so you will have a cosine x, cosine y square, plus sine x times sine x, so it's a sine x, right? So this is cosine y square. I put the parentheses, sine square x and the sine y. Okay, and then you can move the cosine y to the bottom. So this is going to give you cosine y to the cube. So the top here will be cosine x, and what is there? So it's a cosine y here, right? Okay, so finally, so this is a cosine y to the square, then plus sine x square sine y. And I did not see any way we can simplify further. So that would be the answer, right? So this one is quite simple, right? Okay, now let's take a look at the last one. The last one here is x cubed minus y cubed here. So let's do again. So this is x cubed minus y cubed equal to the 7. First derivative is always pretty easy. Okay, so x cubed will be 3x squared minus 3y squared. Don't forget, what is here? Y prime. We should be very familiar with right now, right? Okay, so now you have, so don't forget here, y prime. So what is y prime here? Y prime here is 3y squared, 3x squared. So here, what is here? So it's x squared, y squared. And since this is a simple term, so the y prime, I can just, one double prime, I can just use the quotient rule. So, we can do that. So this is square the bottom, so it's 1/4, right? Okay, so now take a look at the derivative of the top, so it's 2x, then times the bottom is 1 square, then minus, right? So the minus hold at the top is x squared times the 2y. Hey, I'm taking the derivative of y again. So what I have here, y prime. Okay, so now you can see here, then it's become the algebra again. So this is y force. This is 2xy squared minus 2x squared y. What is the y prime here? Y prime is x squared and y squared, right? Okay, so the y squared over, okay, so now I can, so in here, to simplify it, okay, so to simplify it, I see the old y here. Let me factor one y out. So this is a 2xy minus 2x squared times x squared y squared is y force. So this one's here, I can get it to the y cube, right? So I just try to simplify as much I can here. So this is the y cube. Then the inside here, right? So inside here is the common denominator. So this is the y squared. I have a 2. I can factor the 2 out here, right? So this one's here, this is y squared. So what is here? We have here. So we have x what? So it's y squared, right? So it's y cube minus, right? So here, because this is a 2x squared, so it's just like what is x to the what? This is x to the 4th, right? Okay, so now, okay, so y2, y cube, I change it to the y5th, and the 2 is here. I can factor the x out. So what I have here is y cube minus x cube. Whoa, that's pretty good. Y cube minus x cube. So I know the x cube minus y cube is 7. So what is here? So this is 2x, this is what? This is a negative 7 to the y force. What is my answer? It's 14x to the what? Y5th. Oh, be careful. So okay, so in here, let me see here. So this one's here. Okay, so this will be 1/5. 1/5. Oh, I don't have an extra negative sign here. So just y cubed minus. So the answer is negative 14x over y5. All right. So like I said, this is the remaining just the algebra. So that's it. And this is, how do we use the implicit differentiations and try to, take a look at the first derivative, the second derivative. The concepts are extremely easy. So the y is a function of x. I just cannot write it out as a function of x. And then when every time when you take the derivative of the y, don't forget to use the chain rule. You have a y primes there. Okay, and that's it. I hope right now, after we totally did about 11 problems by using the implicit differentiations, and I hope now you will be good at it. How to find the first derivative and how to find the second derivative. And then the next video is pretty important video. So also we're going to take a look how is the implicit differentiation skill can apply into the inverse function concept. Okay, it's very, very interesting one. And so you know how to take it, for example, like the arcsine, arctangent, how do you take the derivative of that? You don't have to remember those tedious formula here. You can use the implicit differentiation method and to get it. That's it. It's so nice to talk to you. I hope that after these 2 videos, you already have your implicit differentiation scaled down very solid. All right. So it's looking forward to talk to you on the next video. Okay. And if you like the video, and feel free to subscribe it, or send me an email. And my email address at the beginning introduction slide is chicomathslab@gmail.com for any request or any question. Okay. Sounds good. And nice to talk to you. Have a good day. Bye.